Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So today is my bread day, so I'm gonna be taking y'all in the kitchen to do a 3-in-1 video, different bread recipes. One being a family favorite. It's the cinnamon raisin bread. It's made in the bread machine. It's quick, it's easy. Brother Chris, Sis Tara love this bread, so I'm making this really for them. But also two that are my all-time favorite that I make. It's a Chick-fil-A style hamburger bun, and then also a Subway style sub bread roll toast. It's so easy. I think during all this pandemic, we've been, figuring out ways to still get the stuff that we like at a fraction of a cost. So I'm gonna show you today, these recipes are so easy, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we're back in my kitchen, and the first recipe we're doing is a family favorite. It's a cinnamon raisin bread in the bread machine, which is so easy, so amazing. It's so good. You literally put all the ingredients in there. It beeps once for you to take the paddle out, and it finishes doing all by itself. I was so excited because I got my bread machine at Goodwill, one of my favorite places ever. And funny story is Ruby was with me, and we were shopping, and she was like, "Baby, do you really need a bread machine?" And it was $10. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Do I really want to spend the $10 right now when I've been making it by hand? And she was like, if it's on sale, if it's the color, the 50% off color, then you should get it. And of course, it was orange. It was the color. It was 50% off, so I got it for $5, and it works perfectly. I do it all the time with it. Don't worry about writing down the recipe. I will keep the recipe in the description box below. And so let's go ahead and get started. So your first ingredient, you'll need a cup of milk at room temperature. I like to use whole milk, but really any milk will do. And then you'll need 3 tablespoons of softened butter. I like to melt my butter all the way just because I feel that it gives it a softer bread at the end. So you'll pull your butter in there, and then you need 3 tablespoons of honey. I'm using honey from Yamamoto Farm, and funny story is actually my cousin's husband's family farm, and it is the best honey ever. I will leave the farm's website and information in the description box below. Definitely go out and get some of their honey. You will not regret it. After that, you get all the honey out. You're going to want to choose whether you want dark or light brown sugar, because you'll need 1 tablespoon of packed brown sugar. I decided to go with light brown sugar, so that's what I put in for my bread. And then you'll need 1 egg at room temperature. It's very important that both the milk and the egg are at room temperature, just so it doesn't freeze up the yeast. Then also you need a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And I really like cinnamon, so sometimes I put a little bit more than the teaspoon in there. Next, you need your 3 cups of bread flour. It's very important that you do use bread flour and not all-purpose flour. It just makes a better, softer bread. And I use an all-organic bread flour, and I'll leave the name to that organic flour in the description box, along with the other flours that I use today. I'll make a little indention in the flour so I can pour my yeast in there. And with the yeast, you need 2 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. It says bread machine, but I use dry active. You want to go ahead and start it on sweet bread, and I like to do the light crust. It just makes it softer and not so crunchy on the outside. And then 5 minutes before the kneading is done, you want to go ahead and then put your raisins in. Alright y'all, so we're back with the second bread recipe that we're going to be doing. So this one is actually one of my favorites. I do it a lot for sandwiches and stuff during the day. I love Subway, but right now during the pandemic, saving every penny counts for your future. So basically I'm going to do easy, quick, mock, copycat, whatever you want to call it, Subway roll recipe. It's just going to be the plain white one. So just as a disclosure, I'm making a half order of the loaf today because I just wanted 2 loaves. It does make 4. So with this, the real recipe will be down below. I will be saying just the one that I did in the video. So you want to make sure your half cup of warm water is at 110 degrees. It's very important so your yeast can activate, that it's not too hot, but it's not too cold. So dump the half cup of warm water at 110 degrees in your stand mixing bowl. Then you want to add a half tablespoon of yeast. I use the dry active yeast. I keep mine in the fridge. It lasts pretty much like forever. I'm actually out after this video. Make sure you get all of the yeast, and as you can tell, the struggle bus is so real from me getting it out. And then you want a half of tablespoon of sugar. Now I use non-GMO cane sugar, and then you'll need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Then you'll need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Give it a good mix and let it sit for 5 minutes. In that 5 minutes, it should start getting a little bit foamy. And that's when you know that the yeast has been activated. So while we're waiting for that, I wanted to kind of explain why I make my own breads. Anybody that knows me or follows me on social media or the YouTube channel knows that I have 2 YouTube channels that I watch religiously every single day. Living Traditions Homestead with Sarah and Kevin. Started watching them about 2 years ago and kind of fell in love with the kind of simple, organic, healthier lifestyle that they presented on their channel. From their channel, I learned about VW Family Farm, Andrew, Ben, and their 2 fabulous kids. Just adored them and just reassured that that's what I wanted to do for my health, for my family's health. Those 2 channels are also what started our family on our journey towards Ormsby Farm. So you want to start mixing with the dough hook your yeast mixture. You want to add in a half a cup of flour and mix it with the dough hook for 3 to 5 minutes. And then you can add in a 1/4 of a cup of flour at a time until the dough starts pulling away from the side of the bowl or it forms into a ball. Now this is going to be a stickier dough, so don't get discouraged when you're watching that. And I think I went ahead and I added about 3/4 more flour in there before it turned into the ball. Alright, so from there it's a pretty sticky dough. So you're going to put it on a well-floured kneading board or board or your countertop so that you can knead it until soft. One trick that I learned from Andrea from VW Family Farm is to use coconut oil on your hand. That way it doesn't stick. So I usually get just a little, and it's good for your hands anyways. Usually get just a little bit, rub it on just so the dough doesn't stick to my hands, and because nobody likes sticky bread hands. That's kind of gross. Again, it's a very sticky dough. Make sure you get all of it out. And just keep flouring it to make sure it gets nice and smooth. Because basically you're going to put it back into a bowl to let it rise for about a half hour. I usually need this dough probably about 40-50 times. Alright, so our next bread recipe is going to be a copycat style Chick-fil-A hamburger bun. I'm going to be making them into half hamburger buns, half hot dog buns. It works the same way. This is a recipe from Sarah and Kevin. I just added a little kind of pizzazz to it that's going to give it that Chick-fil-A flavor. So we're going to go head over to the stand mixer again and go ahead and get everything started. Alright, so in your clean stand mixer, you want to add 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Like Sarah and Kevin and Andrea and Ben, I use an organic all-purpose flour. And again, I'll leave those links in the description box. So 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour into the mixing bowl. Then you want to get 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. I use Active Dry, works perfectly. I love it. I'm actually running out of it and I need to go ahead and get some more. So get all of your yeast in the bowl with the flour. Then you want to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Like Sarah and Kevin, I've learned about non-GMO cane sugar. So put your cane sugar, 2 tablespoons in the bowl, along with 1 teaspoon of salt. Then you'll need 1 cup of warmed milk between 120 and 130 degrees. You don't want it too hot, it will kill the yeast, but not too cold as well. 2 tablespoons of oil, I'm using olive oil, and then 1 egg at room temperature. Hook it up to your KitchenAid, and with the paddle attachment, you want to beat it on high for 2 minutes. So after you've had it on high for, about 2 minutes, you want to add in 1/4 cup of flour at a time until the dough foams into a ball and comes off from the sides of the bowl. Sarah was right. It's about 1/2 cup more when you use organic all-purpose flour. Once it comes into a ball, you'll want to flour a work surface and then take the dough out. And you're going to want to knead this dough for 50 times. So you're going to knead it on the flour, knead it 50 times, and then you're going to cover it and let it rest for 10 minutes. So while your dough's resting, you can go ahead and get your Subway rolls rolled into the loaf cylinder shape. Basically what I did is I just floured my hands. I got a wax paper cookie sheet together, and you roll it into a 9 to 10 inch loaf and cover it with oiled plastic wrap. By that time, your hamburger buns should be done resting. You want to tap them on both sides of the flour so they don't get sticky. And this is when you're going to cut them into 5 of each half. I'm doing 5 hamburger buns, 5 hot dog buns, and that's when you're going to go ahead and roll them out into the hamburger hot dog buns. So once your burger buns and hot dog buns have kind of doubled in size, then you put it into a 350 oven for about 15-20 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. So when it's all ready, we'll show you. When you take your hamburger and hot dog buns out of the oven, I've learned to give it the best Chick-fil-A kind of feel, to get some melted butter, and with a pastry brush, go ahead and brush the top of them. And then while they're cooling, go ahead and put your Subway rolls in the same temperature, 350, for 25 minutes or until golden brown. So I was just resting and waiting for the other breads to come out, and look who decided to come over.
Hi! Oh, my hair looks terrible.
But she saw the bread and she wants to try one of the dinner rolls, so we're going to try it on camera.
Oh, it smells heavenly in here. Walk in the door and it is just, wow. Smells really good. Put a little butter on it. Want me to do one for you?
No, I'm good right now.
Yeah. Soft, fluffy, delicious. Really, really good.
So now that everything's out, I have it all cooling on the racks right here. One thing for the mock Subway rolls is when you paint them with butter, you put them on the cooling rack and make sure you cover it with like a cloth napkin or a towel to make sure it soaks in the moisture and gets it nice and soft on the inside. Usually about 5, 10, 15 minutes. You'll be able to feel it. Let everything cool before you cut into them. That's one thing that I've learned about breads, is you can't cut them while they're still hot or it'll just tear the bread up. So definitely give it about 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on the size of the bread, to let it cool before you cut into it and serve it. Alrighty, y'all, thank you so much for watching my video. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe below. We put out new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Share us on social media. Definitely try these recipes and comment in the comment section below or tag us on social media. I want to see what y'all make. I want to see how it looks, how you like it. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, now on TikTok, and look forward to season 3 of Being Casey coming October 20th, 2020. All right, till next time. Bye, sis. What do you think, Mom?
Oh, I'm getting ready to try it. As you can see, the pieces are huge. There's the loaf right there. And my piece that I have, I cut in half because they're so big. They smell wonderful. And I'm going to put a little butter on and a little, I'll just use this. Should I use that? And a little jelly. Like that. Okay, a little more. And then I will try it. Delicious. Really good. Soft. You can taste the raisins, smell the raisins. So very good. Good job, Casey. And don't forget to tune into our Etsy store soon. Bye.